Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob. My name is Bob Babbitt. We are here at Clash Endurance Miami. Our next guest, Mr. Jason West. Jason, is this the first time you've raced on this speedway, Miami?
Yeah, it's the first time at Miami. I've done Daytona a couple times. I'm not sure. I can't even remember where I was last year that I didn't
I know.
come.
Isn't it funny how everything's sort of a blur?
I'm like trying to think what I was doing in March. Yeah, I don't even remember. But this is the first year.
Now, coming out of when COVID hit, was it one of those things where you were training for stuff and then it would have canceled and then you start training again, or did you just decide, you know what, I'm just gonna focus on when races really come back, then I'll start thinking about them.
Yeah, it was tough for me. I think, especially with the Olympics getting postponed the year,
Right.
it was.
So that would have been the focus.
Yeah, it was definitely really challenging. I felt like I was ready to leave the ITU a couple years ago, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
it got pushed back another year. It was like, well, you're in this so deep, and you keep going, and you're on the edge. So,
And
yeah,
the men's
I
side
guess,
was pretty wide open.
Yeah, it was pretty open. You know, if you were in that fifth or sixth,
Right.
around where I was, I ended up being the first guy not getting a slot at our last selection event, things like that. So it was just so close. So yeah, I guess last year was the last build up to it, and yeah, I must have just been doing some ITU stuff, and yeah, it didn't pan out, but it was just nice to then kind of make the switch.
Right.
And I feel like I'm training for one thing now instead
Well, that's
of like.
not. I was just talking to Ben Canute, and he said last year was so hard
Yeah.
because you're trying to get points and you're trying to think about mixed relay, and it's sort of mixed messages with what you're training for.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had, I feel like, a pretty good level of success at a lot of different things, but never like, I'm not the best. And, if you chase two hares, you usually don't catch either, right? So, yeah, it just feels good now to be like, this is what I'm doing and I'm focusing on
Right.
it. And you're just starting to see all the benefits of like just never breaking from that, just keep going and going and going. So,
Right. Well, and you win Des Moines, Memphis, and New York City in 2021, right?
Yeah, it was a good year. It was tough, to not make the Olympic team, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then, okay, you're like in April, May, you're like, I have to make this switch. And Des Moines was like, it was definitely a big day for me because I finally went out and in like it was adjusted because of weather, but
Right.
in a long course fashion, I went out and really took charge of the race and won. And it was just, I was pretty much on the cusp of having to retire because, to be honest, being a struggling professional at the ITU, you're pretty much just like scrapping by.
Right.
So
and getting starts in those races is really
yeah,
difficult
it's just
too.
so hard. And you come in 10th at a World Cup and you walk home with like $600 or it's something stupid like. So yeah, I mean, Des Moines was. I felt like I finally got the ball rolling. Like it was like, okay, you can do this. It's there. Some of the work started to really pay off and stuff
Right.
like that. And then, yeah, once I won that, it was just like, just keep carrying the momentum through the year.
I love it.
Yeah.
And how did you have to change your training and preparation going from, Olympic? Obviously, when you win New York, which is an Olympic, and
Yeah.
then you win Des Moines and Memphis. Those are you got short and long in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just trying to figure out how to go really fast in a straight line on a flat road, which was the ITU is something totally different. Riding
Totally.
a road bike, the sprinting out of corners, technical aspects, tactical aspects. It was just trying to figure out, like, basically how to be more of a freak on the bike, just, like, laying down tons of power. And that's not something that happens, like, overnight.
No.
It's like so much time. So yeah, it's just been putting so much focus into the bike, and then just learning 70.3. I've only done 5 or 6 70.3s at this
Right.
point. I've learned a lot as far as how tactical they really are.
They really are. They're becoming more tactical.
Yeah, and there was more of that aspect than I thought there was going to be, which is fine. Like I love that aspect of it. It makes it more engaging.
Right.
So yeah, just trying to figure that out, trying to figure out how to, tweak my training to really get me to perform at a high level at that distance. And yeah, we're just, things are going well. So we're doing some good things.
What's fun about this course is it has a little bit ITU-ish with the, because, you know, the cornering and the wind, and because you're going to go out in the middle of the day, there's heat, and the road course is a different challenge than just the speedway.
Yeah, which I'm excited about. I want to see more courses that have that kind of stuff that you can't just be super one-dimensional.
Right.
It's always, I mean, I was riding out yesterday. It's crazy windy. It seems like it's almost just super windy every day here.
It is.
Which that's great. You know, it adds different elements. I think it breaks up when you're on a totally flat track. It almost feels like you're on the trainer, and to have a little bit of different wind and things like that, changing it up, that definitely helps. So yeah, I mean, hopefully the technical stuff will be good for me. I haven't actually ridden it yet, but I've heard it's
you'll dig it.
Pretty tight. So I'm excited for it.
And what's the rest of your season? Is this going to be mainly 70.3s, or are you trying to mix in a New York and?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go like. I want to do as much short course as I can still. So the St. Anthony's, the New York, the Alcatraz.
Right.
Those are all races that I love. Some of them I haven't won yet, so I'm super motivated to try to win them. Like Alcatraz, I think, is like maybe the coolest race on the planet.
Don't you think?
And I'm like, I've been like second and third, and I just, I need to go win it.
Why don't you give Ben a plane ticket to another race?
So, it's great. It's always going to be a battle with us.
You've raced Ben a lot.
Ben and I, and I'd say like he's gotten me most of the time. I've gotten him a couple times. But it just makes both of us better, I'm sure. But I'm gonna keep focusing on 70.3, hit the bigger Olympic distance races. I also think it's a little bit easier on your body. So from a longevity standpoint, I don't think it's super sustainable to race 12 long course races a year.
I think it's so funny that people, there's no runner on the planet who's running 12 70.3 or 12 half marathons in a year.
Yeah.
They just don't do it. They'll run 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Where our guys routinely are racing, they're like, okay, I'll do 3 Ironman and I'll do 8 or 10 70.3s. That's a lot of pounding.
Yeah, I think, when you perform at a high level at that distance race, it really crushes you. And every time I get through a good one, I'm like, man, so I feel like over your career, if I want to race another 10 years, you're limited on how many times you can go out and do that and get the most out of yourself. So I think, I'll always try to do those Olympic stuff. I think staying fast is really good.
It's really important.
If you don't use it, you lose it. So the only reason we slow down is because we stopped doing it. So I'm going to keep doing it. And, I love that kind of racing. So I'm going to do as much of it as I can. But obviously the really big races nowadays are, these PTO distances, these 70.3s, and I mean,
and clash,
So if I can use the short course stuff as hard efforts to prepare and things like that, and then I'll keep doing that. But this summer looks awesome with the PTO tour races.
We got Daytona, we got Canada Cup, and then also you've got potentially PTO in August.
Yeah. So
and that's a goal.
Yeah, definitely. That one's tricky. So I'm getting married 2 weeks after.
Well, it's perfect. You'll be in Slovakia. Get married yet.
So it's tough that I'm getting married 2 weeks after the Canadian race.
Okay.
And depending on what the COVID regulations are, if Canada requires a 14-day quarantine, if you get COVID, then I would miss my wedding, which obviously I can't afford to do. I don't think my fiance would be super psyched about that.
She's not going to be excited about that now. But I had a good race, honey.
Yeah.
That doesn't quite work.
So we'll see. I mean, COVID's an ever-changing thing, and if they, change, hopefully shorten maybe quarantine periods or things like that, if you're fully vaccinated, if they don't test, things like that, then I got to just make sure that I can actually get home in time. Worst case scenario, I can't get stuck in a hotel for 2 weeks.
No,
so
that wouldn't be good.
So
well,
we'll
you could
see.
do it on Zoom. Come on. Do your wedding on Zoom. I'm sure your bride would be fine with that.
So we'll see. I mean, the goal is to race that. If not, it's actually the same weekend as New York City, so I could race domestically and then everything's all good. So it's good that there's options. This feels like there's more options this year.
You know what really does? Now, I love the Super League, the WTS, the couples championship they had last weekend. There's so many cool things out there. But obviously, everything PTO is doing, everything Clash is doing. As a pro triathlete, it's not a bad time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely creating a lot more opportunity. Some things where maybe all the best guys aren't showing up to race for $5,000.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it's tough when it's like, it's a world champs field and you have to like win the.
To be able to pay for your ticket to go home.
So it's just great that there's a lot of opportunity, maybe for some of the up and comers, things like that. Something that's been missing, I think, that's made it hard on a lot of pros for a number of years. And yeah, it's just good to see the growth. And I keep looking at everything, and I look at the calendar, and I'm like, man, there's so much opportunity here, and the future is only looking brighter with the plans that we've heard for 2023, 2024, things like that. In the long haul, I think it looks pretty awesome. So
what now the goals for this year? Is it like St. George 70.3 at the end of the year? Is it?
Yeah, for sure. 70.3 Worlds. It seems like all the big races, the PTO Tour, the Collins Cup, 70.3 Worlds for Ironman. It's all kind of like August.
Yes.
Right. July
August,
and later. So it's definitely like a big back end of the year. But like I've touched on, I really want to win like St. Anthony's. I want to win Alcatraz, things like that. So it's going to be a jam-packed year.
Yeah, which is a nice change of pace compared to.
So it's just nice to have like this whole calendar of races, and it's like every one is almost like a big race.
Have you had to, going the longer distance, more strength training, more flexibility? What else have you added in?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been like pretty big on strength, things like that.
You come from wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, like mobility, things like that. I've always just naturally had a lot of those things, just from my background. So that's been really good. But yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of strength work. I've just been spending so much more time on my bike. It's just, you want to get better riding your bike, you gotta ride it. And it's the kind of thing where you ride it a bunch, you do like all these super long efforts, getting comfortable in the TT bars, which feels a lot easier when it's not one ride a week on the TT bike.
That's what it used to be when you had a balance, right?
It's all of them. So it almost just feels like totally normal.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of the indoor, a lot of Zwift as well?
Yeah, I mean, especially in the winter. I'm a kind of guy who, like, once I put it on the trainer, I'm almost like, I'll just get on. Even if it's like kind of a nice day, kind of not. I'm like, just leave it on the trainer.
Taking it off is a pain in the butt.
And I just got to get all dressed up. So sometimes I'm like, everybody's riding outside, and I'm just like, man, I just don't feel like it. But yeah, I mean, it's been really
such a quality workout without stoplights, without if you're riding an hour, you're getting a solid hour in.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when then you go outside and you have all these lights and all these different things, and you're kind of like, man, like, this is kind of annoying.
It's not the quality.
So yeah,
and you're not be able to look at your power and all the rest of that.
Yeah, you can't argue with it, like the level of quality that you're getting with the trainer, with that kind of stuff. I don't ride Zwift.
Okay.
I don't have a smart trainer, and I think it's probably a totally different experience on the smart trainer. So I don't do that. I just kind of like Netflix and
watch
different things.
But you have your power and all that stuff on there?
Oh yeah, of course.
Of course you do.
Just looking at all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, you can just dial in exactly what you want, and I'm kind of a science guy, so when I'm looking at my training, I know exactly what I want, and it's like that's the easiest way to do it. So yeah, I like that kind of stuff. I also, there's something about just like the challenge of sitting there and mashing away at a certain workout, and there's like no distractions. Like I think you find a place mentally where you can really improve.
Well, and you draw on that in a race because that's what you sort of do.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's definitely working. So
do you coach yourself?
I do, yeah. I coach myself, my whole program. My fiance does my swim program.
Okay.
She's got a ton of swim coaching experience. I've brought in Bobby McGee to work with my running a little bit. So it's a little bit of a collaboration between a number of people that I feel know more than me about certain areas. And if they know more than me, then I should just take their advice, and then I put it all together. And yeah, you know, it's just worked for me the last few years. I'm at the point where I feel like I know what I need and things like that.
Yeah.
I know how to get the best out of myself. Always learning, always getting better. You know, the training plan's it's not the same this year as it was last year, things like that. But yeah, it seems to be working, and if I feel like I need something different at some point, then I'll go out and get that. So yeah.
When you look back, what do you look at as your best race?
Oh man.
Or maybe the race that told you, yeah, I could be really good at this.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, in the last year, Des Moines was really special for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's just been such a hard road. Everybody's had their challenges through COVID. You know, I've had mine. I was working another job again
during COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I actually
you couldn't make a living as a triathlete.
I actually just stopped a few weeks ago.
Wow, what were you doing?
I was doing some strength training, personal training, and stuff like that, which is tough when you're getting up at 5:30 in the morning, carrying weights around the gym. And, you know, it's just obviously not super conducive to triathlon training. No. But I think Des Moines, it was like, okay, I could finally win a race against a lot of guys that I really respect.
Right.
So it was just such a long, you know, it had been almost 2 years probably since I had won a race, which can feel like a long time.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And so there was definitely a lot of doubt of, you know, and I had just come off of not making the Olympic team, and that, you know, it was totally fine. It wasn't like I was crazy heartbroken in that. I think you chase after it to get the most out of yourself. Yeah. And I felt like I did that.
Right.
So whether I made the team or not, it's,
right.
You know.
You couldn't watch.
Yeah.
Could you watch the games?
Oh, of course. You know.
You could?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I think some of those athletes, cheering them on. I was so happy to see Kevin make the team, and I was just psyched for him. And
they're all your friends.
Yeah, and they were able to win a silver medal in the mixed team relay. Yeah. You got to also be a fan and be supportive, and just because I wasn't there doesn't mean I can't be happy for them. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Those are totally separate things. So yeah, when I was able to come back, win another race, and get going, it was just really special, and yeah,
it showed you're on the right path.
Yeah,
love it. Good luck out here on Friday.
Yeah, well,
it's gonna be a nice field.
Yeah, it's quite the field. Early March, you never know. Has training been going well? Not, you know, it's always a bit bumpy. Anybody who's it's going great, it's probably lying to
you.
You
know.
So yeah, it's going to be wild. It's going to be really hot, I think.
Yeah. It's been way hotter than it was last year.
Yeah, so it seems unseasonably warm a little bit, but everybody's got to deal with it. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good luck, Jason.
Thank you.
Jason West has been our guest, everybody. Again, Breakfast with Bob, and we will be back in just a little bit. Thanks so much.